Hey, how's it going, guys? I am just back from the gym. I'm super excited. I'm super pumped. I really wanted to share today's subject with you guys. Now, I had this kind of slated for later. Like, I wasn't going to talk about this today. But I was thinking, like, on my way, I was like, why wait? Like, this is actually a pretty important one. And this is actually one of the ones where earlier on in my career I learned, very fortunately, and it really has helped me kind of establish my trajectory and really helped me think in new ways. So basically, yeah, I want to say this was about three to 4 years ago, right? I was in the office. I was working late. Like I was the only one in the office. I was working on some project. It was like 7 or 8 p.m. 7 or 8 p.m. some of the week, I forget what day it was, in the office by myself, nobody there. Now, I got thirsty, so like usual, I got my water bottle, right? I went to the lunchroom where they have the water thing, and as soon as I opened the door to the lunchroom, guess who I see? I see the majority shareholder of the company. So basically, the owner of the organization, on his knees on the ground, cleaning. Now, I got shocked, right? Because okay, so cleaning is not below anybody. Okay, it's not below me. It's not below anybody. So don't get me wrong. I'm not saying cleaning is like this thing way below here, and anybody's doing it is like, wow, that's like that. I'm above that, right? I'm not coming at it from that perspective. I actually have a high level of respect for people that do those jobs. It's not an easy job, and it's a very thankless job. So don't get me wrong. But here's what I'm getting at. There is an owner of a company, a mid-sized company, mind you, and we actually hire a service, like a janitorial service that comes in like every other day to clean our place, like the whole place. And so I was shocked. Like, why is the owner of the company here at night, 7 or 8 p.m. at night? Nobody is there. Nobody's in the office. Just me. And he's there cleaning. And again, I was shocked, and I was like, sir, what are you doing? And he's like, oh, I'm cleaning. And so I said, again, I was taken aback. Like, I wasn't prepared. I was just gonna get some water, and I saw the guy cleaning, and I said, again, sir, like, can I help you? I should help you. Like, what are you doing? Like, I can help you. And he was like, no, it's fine. And again, I was just a little taken aback, right? So I just got my water. I filled it up, and I left. And it's really affected me. I think it was like the next day, I was talking to my boss, who's the president of their organization, and I was just telling him that story. I was like, hey, that this is what happened. I went to the lunchroom and I saw the owner and he was cleaning, and basically my boss told me, he said, yeah, that is the difference between having an owner and renter mentality. And I was like, what are you talking about? Owner and renter mentality. And basically this is what he said. Like, an owner, it's exactly like how it sounds. And it's actually kind of like owning a house or renting a house or anything like that. Because like if you're renting a place, let's say you're renting a place, right? Something breaks. Drywall gets scratched up or whatever, something happens, plumbing's damaged or whatever. Who do you call? You call the owner. You call the owner and say, hey, I got this thing, it's screwed up. Please come fix it. Please send somebody to fix it. But if you are the owner and something gets screwed up, like, you have nobody else to call to fix the problem for you. So that's basically what an owner and renter mentality is. That's the difference between the two. So the owner, that's his problem. That's her problem. An owner says, that's my problem. A renter says, that's not my problem. That's that other person's problem. Do you see what I'm getting at? This is a huge thing. So this mentality touches kind of on like standards too, right? It goes hand in hand, having standards. So basically, a lot of people have that clock in, clock out mentality. And that's kind of a similar concept. Clock in, clock out mentality, not having standards, or putting in just the absolute bare minimum. And this is where I just need to do a little tough talk here. If you're just doing the bare minimum, if you feel like you're one of those people that just put in the bare minimum, you really have to be honest with yourself and ask yourself, why are you doing that? Why would you only put in the bare minimum effort? Like, I don't even understand it. Like, I don't get that mentality. I just didn't grow up that way. It's just like, you need to have a little pride in what you do. You need to be able to get up in the morning wanting to do something, and then when you're sleeping at night, like when you go to bed and your head hits the pillow, you should feel proud of what you've accomplished that day. Like, you should feel good, like, okay, there was some tough stuff, like I had to do this, I had to do this, there were some tough things that came my way, but I feel good because I gave it my best. Like, that's having standards. Like, if you're going in at work and you're clocking in, like literally clocking in, clocking out, and you're mentally clocking in, clocking out, if some problem comes by, an issue, some issue happens, and you're like, that's not my thing, that's that other person's thing, or you're always going to your boss asking that person to make it go away or something like that, then you're not owning the problem. So that means that you're having a Renner mentality, okay? Now, I'm not trying to demean anybody. This isn't to demean anybody. I'm just trying to be real and be honest and try to add value for you, because this, for me, even though I always thought of like I lived this way, seeing an owner of a company do, like, having that high of a standard where there was nobody in the company looking. It's like, because again, like I'm telling you, like most people, and I do this to a certain, I'm not perfect, right? I'm not perfect, so don't get me wrong. But like most people, they only put their best foot forward when other people are watching you. Like, you don't, like when no one is around, right? You don't do your best. Right? Like most people, they don't do their best unless, like, when other people are watching, they're like, oh, I know. Like the boss passes by, you're typing away, you're focused, you want to show that you're working, you're producing, you're giving an effort, you're giving it your all. But when the boss is not there, you don't try as hard, right? So that's the difference. Like, people who have standards, people who have the owner mentality, they don't care about anything else. They don't care if anybody's watching or not. They're always gonna do they're gonna meet their standards, not somebody else's standards. Their standards. Why? Because their own standards matter to them. So another person's opinion or judgment on you is not bigger than your own standards on yourself, because you have pride in your own self. Does that make sense? So again, yeah, for me, it was a big eye opener. I have always worked in that way, but it's just another thing that for me was like, wow, even an owner. Because again, like I'm telling you, I really feel like, okay, like fast forward 10, 20 years, like if I was an owner of a company, like if I wanted to be an owner of a company, and let's say I get there, let's say I make a company, I have 100 employees, 200 employees, 300 employees, like would I always have that standard? I don't know. I ask myself that. I feel like to the point where you're cleaning, like you have such a high standard, and you know nobody's gonna take care of your company the way like you're gonna take care of your company, because that's your baby. Like, you're the one that created that company, and no other employee is gonna care about it as much as you care about it, right? But like at some point, like you have cash coming in, company's growing, like would you let your standards go a little bit? I feel like maybe if I were to be really honest with myself, I might. Like I'm thinking about it, like how true would I be always grinding, always achieving at the highest level, always giving it my all, when there are like 100, 200 employees that I can just delegate to or whatever, right? Again, this isn't a subject about like when or what is it better to delegate, when is it not. I'm not talking about that right now. I'm just strictly talking about standards. I'm talking about having whether you have a clock in, clock out mentality, or if you have like an owner mentality or a Renner mentality. And again, night and day difference. So I implore you, I highly implore you, like, change your mentality. If you don't think like this, if you are thinking like this and you're asking yourself, man, why isn't things happening for me? Like, why am I not getting a raise? Why am I not advancing? Why am I not getting more out of life or my career? Like, why am I not feeling fulfillment from my own career, or why am I not advancing? I bet you a huge percentage of it isn't your boss. It isn't your company. It's you. It's you not having an owner's mentality. It's you not having a higher standard for yourself. It's you where you only do your best when other people are watching you. That's what's holding you back. It's not other people. And if you think it's other people, or if it's other extenuating circumstances or outside factors, you're kidding yourself. That's an excuse, right? Don't give yourself excuses, because excuses, when you give an excuse, that closes the door automatically for you. An excuse will automatically close the door for you, no matter whether you like it or not, right? So do yourself a favor. Don't do me a favor. Do yourself a favor and just shift your mentality, right? If you do have that thought process of that renter mentality, shift it to an owner's mentality and just see how it works out for you. And again, I'm no guarantees, right? Like I'm not saying like if you switch yourself to an owner's mentality, like suddenly everything's gonna go right for you. Like you're gonna get advancements, you're gonna get, your career is gonna be set, like you're gonna get more money. Like I can't promise you that. But here's what I can promise you, and I truly believe this. I believe that you will be so much better off, guaranteed. Like that's a black and white thing. Like if you had on this hand, like you give out, like you put out renter mentality, or you put out subpar standards, minimum, bare minimum effort. I'm only gonna do as little amount as possible. If you go from that state to, you know what, this is my problem, I'm gonna own my own problem, and then you switch to this kind of mentality, like how would you not do better? Like how would you not advance in your career? How would you not do better? Again, I'm not promising you will. I'm just saying it is better than this alternative. Like it is better than you doing this. Like that's a for sure. Like how can you not, like if you disagree, like I don't understand how you would be able to disagree with this. Like going from here to here, it's huge. It will change you. Like over a lifetime, like 5 years, 10 years, 20, it might not be right away is what I'm trying to say. But over time, that huge shift, that night and day shift, that's going to change your trajectory. That's going to change the way you think, the way you produce, the way you interact with people, because you're going to have standards for yourself and you're not going to give the bare minimum. Does that make sense? I really, really hope that today's topic sparked a little something for you, because I know I get a little worked up about these things. Some of these things I feel like I need to do a little bit more of a tough talk and tough approach, because like not everybody's the same way, right? If you're anything like me, I actually need a little bit of like the tough love, the tough talk. Sometimes all this like fluttery stuff doesn't work for me. I need somebody sometimes to just be like, just kick my butt and just say, hey, like get your crap straight, dude. You're screwing up. You gotta do this. Stop complaining. Stop making excuses. Like I need that. Like for me, when I get that, I get way more pumped up, because I'm like, you know what? You're right. I need to stop making excuses. I need to stop allowing myself to be okay with subpar standards. Like I need to stop that now, just immediately. It's not, I've been doing that for way too long. See, that's what I'm trying to do today, right? So just think about it that way, right? So like when you go to bed at night, or when you look at the mirror, right, and you look at yourself, that's who you're trying to make proud, right? That's the standard that you have. You don't try to please somebody else. Don't try to meet somebody else's expectation. You should have an expectation inherently as a default unto yourself, for yourself, to yourself. You should have a default standard for yourself and not look at anybody else, right? So try that out. I really, really hope that this struck home for some of you. Feel free, just leave comments. Tell me what you think. If you don't like what you heard today, you know what? It's your life. You can give me a thumbs down. That's fine. Like I'm okay with other people's opinions. This is just really how, I don't want to BS myself. This is really how I truly feel. Okay? I am not, just trust me, I'm not always on top of it. I'm not always on top of my game. Just trust me. I'm not like super gung-ho all the time, every day, fired up, wanting to do things. I'm not always like that. But one thing I can tell you is that I do have standards. I do have standards, and I've always been a pusher. I've always pushed myself. I've always pushed myself. It's an inherent thing. I've always had it. I've always had a work ethic. I've always had pride in what I've done. And that's something that I've always had. And I really wanted to share, if there is anybody, even if I touch just one person, if you're that one person that just had that clock in, clock out mentality, and then ask yourself, oh, I'm making, I'm getting too excited here. I'm making $10 an hour. Like, oh, I want to make 10% more. Like, dude, you're not going to get anywhere. Like, 10% making $10 an hour, you're not going to get anywhere. The only way you can get somewhere is to think way bigger than like a 4% raise on $10 an hour or a 6% raise on a $10 an hour. Like that, like you're limiting yourself. And I feel like most people out there, you don't have to be a genius. Like, you can do so much more. Most people are average. That's why it's called average. And I'll be honest with you, I'm an average person. I'm not brilliant by any means. I wasn't like the greatest of students or anything like that. I'm pretty average. But that's again where that's the differentiation, right? It's the mentality, it's the work ethic, it's the philosophy of these things that trumps like all of the other, like just the book knowledge or your academia or how good you do at those kind of things, right? So again, let me know what you think in the comments below. If you haven't done so already, please subscribe. I have a lot of things I'm planning. I have a lot of things I'm thinking about. I really want to touch on a lot of things. I want to talk about finance. I want to talk about business. I want to talk about things that motivate, things like standards and things like that. So there's a lot of things to talk about. So yeah, tune in, stay tuned in, subscribe, and let me know what you think. Again, go out there, have a standard for yourself, have an owner's mentality. Own your problem. Have a good night. Bye.